Welcome to the Nick and Jimmy Show. On today's episode, we have Otis Grant. Otis, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
So Otis, who are you? What do you do? What's your story?
I'm Otis Grant. Listen, I was born in Jamaica. I came to Canada when I was 9 years old. And, shortly after that, founded an amateur boxing club that was located in our city. We grew up in Ville-Saint-Laurent during summertime and with some friends. And we started going. And then after summer, a lot of guys quit. My brother and I kept going and, just started boxing, training, amateur fights, and represented Quebec, then we're on national team, represented national team, and after the 88 Olympics, which I lost in the finals to the eventual silver medalist, a guy by the name of Egerton Marcus from Ontario. My brother went, and when he came back from the Olympics, we turned pro in 1988. Fought at home for a little bit, then I signed a contract with an American promoter, and I was on the road a lot. And I won the world title in my second opportunity to fight for a world title. First time was in May of 2007. And then I had another chance in, I think it was December 13th of 1997, not 2007, oh my gosh. Man. And I won the world title in 1997. And pretty much, that was my boxing journey. And I had a big fight with Roy Jones in 1998. And I had a car accident that took me out of boxing for 5 years. I was, in a coma for 10 days. And then, doctors told me I would never fight again. But 5 years later, I made a comeback to boxing after being told by doctors I would be lucky to be a recreational athlete again. And then I won 7 of 8 fights on my comeback and became #1 ranked fighter in the world in my division. And then I lost 1 fight on my comeback in 2006, and then I retired. And I'm in the boxing business with my brother. We have a gym in the West Island called Grant Brothers Boxing, and we also manage, train, promote like amateur boxers, professional fighters, and we also do a community program for just regular guys that want a different workout from the weights and machines and stuff. And so we train community. And last thing that I shouldn't leave out, in 1999, after the car accident, I had the opportunity for some people was asking me to loan my name to help them with a food drive community program. And, I felt lucky to being alive from that accident and got out of hospital after being in the hospital for a month that summer. And, I loaned my name to this drive, and the response was tremendous, and we got tons and tons of food, and we couldn't give it to one program. And I took that opportunity to start the Otis Grant and Friends Foundation, and I have a foundation that does community work in around Montreal, Quebec. And we help families in need. We feed people. We give Christmas baskets. Send kids to summer camp. We're involved with some scholarships, giving Discover the Stars scholarship through a donor. To the top science and math student from the Lester B. Pearson School Board. And I used to work in the school system too. I used to be a teacher all while I was fighting. I won the world title working at a high school named Lindsay Place High School in Point Claire. And from that, they created an award in my name. They give to a graduating student every year. It's called the Otis Grant Award. They give it to a kid that doesn't have to be a rocket science, but smart kid, very good with athletics and also very good in community. So those are the 3 criteria and they give that award on my behalf to a graduating student. And every time they have a graduating ceremony, and if I'm in town, I go and I present the award to that student. So that's about it in a nutshell, man. We train and manage professional fighters, and we have a couple of guys on the come up now, and we'll see where we go with them.
Beautiful, congratulations. And let us know for your foundation, because we love giving back. We could figure something out together, that's for sure.
Actually, I have a foundation. It's our 10th annual foundation dinner happening it's the 4th, next Sunday at 40 West.
Okay. We'll keep that in mind.
It's been there every year, and it's something that's in aid of the West Island Palliative Care. Because the program that we work with, so half the monies that comes in, we donate to the palliative care for their program, and half we keep in the bank to help us do the things that we do in the community.
Beautiful, amazing. Thank you for sharing. Now, if we go back in time, why did you choose boxing?
It's not even so much that I chose boxing. It's more like, I wouldn't say boxing chose me or chose us, but like we were on summer vacation, and kids being on summer vacation back in those days, we didn't have any video games and like smartphones, which what kids spend all their time on nowadays today. So we used to ride around our bikes and go to different parks and play soccer and play basketball and go to the pool in Vilston. Around the pool used to open for the public at 1:00. So that was our summer until two of the guys that we were with that summer, two brothers, Robin and Terry, they found this boxing gym that was in their area. They went the night before, came back and told us, and the whole group went. So that was my intro to a boxing gym. It wasn't like, like other kids got stories where they were being bullied or beaten up and
that was my next question.
Them to a boxing gym. That wasn't my case. We just discovered it by accident, liked it. It was close enough to our home where we, after school, during homework, you go up to the gym. Then we just started training and kept at it. And it took us.
You fell in love with the sport.
Yeah, it took us around the world. I represented Canada for 4 years and traveled and seen places in the world that I would have never seen if not for this sport. So I'm grateful to it. It's a brutal sport. It's a tough sport, but it's given me a lot of things that I have in my life today.
Talking about boxing, a lot of people think boxing, the fame and all that stuff, the money that goes with it and all that, good stuff. Is it true? Is it a myth? And,
the smoke and mirrors?
It's more exactly.
Yeah, 90% of it, 95% of it is smoke and mirrors, it's a brutal game. It's a brutal business more than the game. The fight itself with two guys that train to fight and, they're in shape, is probably the purest sport that you will ever come across, two guys in there trying to get the better of each other, fight plan and all this kind of stuff. But it's only about 5% of fighters that make it to the top. You guys hear about $200, $300 million that Floyd Mayweather made and this guy made, but that's a fraction. That's a 1%. Most of these guys, they work, they train hard, they put their life, their heart, their soul into this sport, trying to get a shot at a world title or the opportunity at a big fight where they can make some money. And 8 out of 10 times that never happens. So, a lot of these guys are just working and, their opponents and they're, trying to feed their family and and then they have a few that has the resources. They might have the right training, the right manager behind them, the right team, all of that stuff, the right promoter that they're with that could move them and, get them on television and sign a TV contract. And those guys will eventually make some money. But there's millions of guys for the 100 names that we know that were really good. There's a million guys that will never get there.
So it's in general, 1% of the population is extremely successful, and then 99% are just normal
Pretty
people,
much.
right? What's the difference?
Let's say, for example, there's 12 weight class in boxing with all the in-between weights, could be 15 or 20, let's say. There's a champion in every weight class. The champion makes the money in the weight class. And then when champions fight champions, now before they only used to be a couple of belts. Now they have all kinds of belts. They have 4 world title belts, WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. And those 4 titles are the main ones. But then they have a lot of other titles, international, this, that, WBA, all kinds. They call it in the business alphabet soup titles. It's a title, but it doesn't mean much. It's not going to get you where you're going. But the goal with, let's say, fighters that, or I'll take guys the road that I took. I won the Canadian title, and from winning the Canadian title, it gave me a top 10 ranking in North America, or top 6, it could have been back in those days, and then I had an opportunity to fight for a North American title, and I won that, and from winning the North American title, they were affiliated with WBC. It gave me a top 10 rank in the WBC, and then that was the progression that I took, the road that I took. So, you win the regional titles that are associated with the world titles, and then you move up the ladder in the world rankings as long as you keep winning. And then my case, I was ranked number 1 in the world by the WBC and the WBO. And my contract with my promoter at the time, regardless of any of the 4 major titles that I fought for, I was going to make the same money on my contract, right? So, like, WBC was more or less making me wait, even though I was ranked with them number 1 longer than I was with WBO. And then WBO was the one that offered me the world title shot first. So because, like, you know, apples, tomatoes, or whatever, the money fighting for this title on this hand was the same as the money fighting for this title. I just went with one that came first. And WBC at the time wasn't happy with me because I went the WBC route by getting the NABF title, which was associated with WBC. So I went their route, but then I jumped in and took the WBO offer because the contract was a contract and I was going to make the same money regardless of which title I fought for. So that's the route I took. And then once you get to world championship level, that's when you can start making some money. You know, like a lot of contracts calls for, let's say, $250,000 US would be like, that was the standard back then as your minimum to defend that title. It could be less or it could be more. It depends on the contract that you have. Like, and then those guys, once you start defending your title and you're fighting on television and TV is paying money for you to be on, then that's when you make money. But not everybody gets that opportunity. And then, let's say a champion gives you an opportunity to fight for the title. You know, a lot of times there's a rematch clause if you're not the mandatory guy. So you'll fight, you might get a title, and if you're lucky enough to hold on to it and beat him in the rematch, or if you were mandatory and you take the title from him, then you have an opportunity to cash in on that title. So the goal is to win a world title, have some easy fights for as long as you can to hold on to that title and make some money while you have it, before you have to fight your mandatory, which is the number 1 ranked guy in your division by the governing body that you're representing, you know?
Very interesting. And how important is to have a strong work ethic? Now, here's a question. As a champion, were you born a champion, or the strong work ethic came and then the skill set came in, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know what? I wouldn't say anybody's born a champion. You might be born with good genetics, and like it's up to you to mine what you have and explore it and work at it and get better. But like, that's an excellent question because having a gym and working with young fighters, working with good guys, I'd rather have a guy like and you see it happen all the time. You have a guy over here that's full of talent. You know, like my brother was a very talented fighter, much better fighter than I was talent-wise. But like, you know, you give me a guy that has talent here and a guy that's okay over here, but he's willing to put the work in, I'll take this guy. I'll take a guy that's going to work to get to the top as opposed to a guy that's going to rely on his talent. Because,
so the work ethic will beat the talent overnight?
10 out of 10 times. If you're willing to put in the work in and if you're just going to rely on your talent, yeah, I got skills and this and that, but like you won't work to get in shape and to put the work in that you require to get you there, you won't make it.
So I need to add the work ethic, right?
Yeah, if you have talent, you need to add the work ethic, and I'm a firm believer. Anything that you do in life, athletics, your business here, like studies, but like there's nothing's gonna beat hard work. If you you're gonna get out of something what you put in. So if you put the time in, study, to do what you gotta do to get where you want to go. If you put the time in, you'll see success.
And how about your biggest highlight? What was your biggest highlight in your career?
My biggest highlight in my career, I think, if I look at it, it would have to be winning the world title on foreign soil, because that didn't happen even today. Still doesn't happen much. Like where a guy leaves Montreal or his country, Canada, and go across the pond and win. It's kind of difficult to win on the road, but I think that was probably my best highlight because I took my team over to England. Like my trainer Russ, my brother, I had a couple of sparring partners, John Scully, a few guys, and we went over there. We rented a house. We stayed there for about 7-8 weeks in Fulham, Chelsea. And we found a little amateur gym, and it was good. I trained in the United States a lot, and there was a kid named Benny May, and he was with Harold Knight, who was a trainer, one of Lennox Lewis's trainer, And I would train with those guys in Jersey, and Benny was there. And Benny and I would end up in the same hotel, end up running together and stuff like that. And then when it turns out that and Benny's from England, when it turned out that I was fighting for world title in England, I called Benny and I said, hey, Benny, fighting this guy in your country, I need to come in and be on the low, on the quiet. You know, I want to come in under the radar, and I want to find me a little gym where I could train where nobody knows that we're there or anything like that. So he spoke to his amateur coach, because in England there's a rule where amateurs can't train with pros. Back in those days, I don't know if it's changed. So the amateur guys would train in the afternoon or after school, whatever, and then we'd go into the gym around 8, 9 o'clock at night, and we'd do our training then. And I enjoyed training late at night because, you know, that was the same time you're going to fight. You don't fight at 10, 11 o'clock. So, like, you know, I got my body used to working, like, later hours, and, like, instead of training early and then sleeping, like, so that's the way we conditioned that camp. And then we went over to Sheffield, and we moved from London to Sheffield, and we had a good fight. It was a tough fight. It was like a long fight. It went 12 rounds, and you know, I came out the winner. So I think that you know, most fighters that fight, you know, hope and dream and wish that they can have the opportunity to fight for a world title. You know, and I had that opportunity, and not only did I fight for it, but I went on my opponent's home backyard. He was from Sheffield, and I beat him there. You know, and you had to block out the crowd and the noise and the boos and all that. But, like, hey, like, they could say what they want to say, throw what they're going to throw in the ring. But, like, I don't have to worry about guys that's across from me in the ring. I ain't got to worry about a lot of people, a lot of fighters on the road, they get nervous because they're in hostile territory, and, you know, the crowd's against them and all that. But, man, that's something that never bothered me. It's actually something that drove me.
You worked under pressure.
Yeah. Keep the crowd out, keep them quiet. So I knew if the crowd wasn't saying nothing and they weren't loud and boisterous and all that, I was doing okay.
Yeah. And that's even opening up a business, right? Yeah. There's all the naysayers, the haters saying this, that. You just block the noise, eliminate the noise, and you focus on
what you got to do.
Exactly.
100%.
I have a 2-part question for you. Now, when first of all, did you ever get knocked out really hard?
I got, as a professional, my first loss was probably the worst. I was ranked number 2 or 3 in the world, and I was fighting a guy by the name of Quincy Taylor. He was from Texas, and the winner of that fight was world title eliminator. Was gonna move on to fight for the world title, WBC world title, and, you know, we fought in Boston at a place called the Roxy's. I'll never forget it. And, you know, it was a tough fight. The guy was good. He was a southpaw like me, meaning he's left-handed, so he's from this side, not this side. And I could fight a right-handed guy pretty much with my eyes closed. I know what's going on. But with left-handed guys, I didn't see too many of them, and especially at that level. And, like, you know, fight went on, and I got tired. And, you know, when instinct takes over. So I remember getting hit, I think it was a jab, and, like, you know, when you get hit by a jab with right hand, you know the right hand might be coming. So I moved the wrong one, I moved right into the left hand, bang. I was down on the floor. And I just heard, like, I heard the 5, 6, 7. Then, like, I didn't hear the 1, 2, 3, 4. I just heard 5, 6, 7. Then I got up, and the referee was a good ref. I got up, and he said, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, okay." So he wiped my gloves on his shirt, and he said, "Step towards me." So when I stepped towards him, I stumbled. So, like, he knew, and he just he waved the fight off because he knew I had no legs. I wasn't in good shape. So that was my first loss, and that's probably one of the most difficult losses that I've had in my career. And also as an amateur in the Olympic trials, in the finals of the Olympic trials, that's probably 2 hardest time I got hit was there. I got hit by Egerton Marcus in the first fight that we had, went down. And then in this fight, went down, but I got up both times, but I got, referee stopped the fight. But, it happens. Like, you're in the fight business. It's gonna happen, man. You could get hurt, on any given night. So that's why you gotta put that work in that we're talking about before. That means you're in good shape and you're ready to go for whatever your opponent has to present to you. You've been through it. You worked on it in the gym, and even with doing all that stuff, You can get caught.
Well, they say that it's not about how many times you fall down
It's
or get knocked up. It's how many times you get back
get
up.
up. That's the heart and a mark of a real fighter. Guys are gonna lose. But guys are gonna get hit. But it's how you rebound from when stuff goes wrong. That'll prove your worth in the ring.
That's right. How about support? Did your parents say, stick in school, stay in school? This is just a hobby,
No, my parents, they didn't really come to much fights until we got better at it, we'd do stuff and go and fight and, they think we're at a gym or, okay, we're going to a boxing show and we're boxing. But, support was never an issue because, and us being at a gym was never an issue because instead of being after school out on the street getting into trouble or, becoming delinquents with your buddies out on the corner, they knew we were at a gym. So it was a safe place to be. It was a place where, they knew that we were supervised and we were learning the sport. And, my mom and my dad, my mom was very quiet at fights. She, I've seen mothers at fights that, I've seen mothers pass out, fainting, screaming, jumping. Yeah, my mom was very, very stoic, not showing too much emotion, all that kind of stuff. And my wife was the same thing too. She was very good at fights. I've seen mothers and wives at fights that it's a disaster. Where the fighter's in the ring and he has to worry about his wife or his mom aside because he might take in a good shot and they're freaking out. But I had great support from. I've been with my wife since I was a kid, since I was 17 years old. So she's been there the whole way. So she knew when I was fighting, prepare my meals or whatever it was that I needed, and the support from my family, my friends, my trainers, it was great. I used to fight on the road a lot, and just telling you about the support, going back to that, I had some friends, Reggie and Talep and a couple of guys from Montreal that I would go. These guys would come on the road with me, come to my fights, and even though we were 90% of the time in hostile territory, I had my guys. I had my crew, my guys with me. My they call it entourage.
Entourage.
But they're my buddies. And those guys at the time too, Sharkies and Sammy Fruits. They used to sponsor me. So I'd go away and I might be at training camp and I'd say, hey, bring the money, give Betty some money, pay the bills or whatever. So and I would wear their logo, their crest on my shirt and on my robe, on my shorts. So those guys are my two first sponsors, and they're still my very good friends, some of my best friends to this day. But, we'd go on the road and have these guys with me, and, I'd fight. Bringing that comfort and confidence at home and knowing that you're with your people and your guys got your back, I'd fight anybody anywhere. I'd go fight King Kong in the jungle with these guys because I knew that, I had...
support.
I didn't have to worry. Yeah, whatever I needed, on the road, wherever, I had my guys I could rely on and call them. They were true friends of mine.
Amazing. So just to add that the question about support, let's say somebody that's an upcoming boxer, an amateur, how important is to have that support? How important is to be around the right people?
Oh, you know what? It's very important. Because your parents, your family, it has to be engaged. They got to know what's going on. Without the family support, it's not that you're not gonna make it without. Because a lot of times, with kids that don't have the support, the gym becomes their family. Their trainer, their sparring partners, the guy they're working with, the coaches. Those guys become your family, and then once you have that network of people or circle of people around you, then you may not get it from home, but you have it in the gym, or you have it with your sparring partners, or you have it with the guys that you train with. It's like a brotherhood. So it's great to have it at home, and I think that's probably the best place to get it from. But there's a lot of kids that are successful that may not have the support at home, or they might come from a broken home or separated or divorced family or whatever, and they don't have that support there, but they'll pick it up at a gym. The gym's like a family. You know, you come there and like everybody supports everybody helps everybody like roots for everybody, you know. So support, whether it's coming from home or from your trainers, from your sparring partners, from your training partners, like it's an integral part of being successful in anything you do. You know, you can't do it alone in most things in life.
And talking about support, was there ever a moment throughout your career that you wanted to quit? And what kept you going?
You know, I don't ever really remember when I thought about quitting seriously. I might have thought about it, and it was after I lost to Quincy Taylor, and then I had a fight in Connecticut at Foxwoods Casino. And, you know, like I had stepped back and I twisted my ankle, and like the referee called it a knockdown, and I wasn't even hit. I just twisted my ankle and I fell. But it looked like from the back like he was throwing a punch at the same time. And anyway, I ended up winning the fight, but it was a close fight. And I was like in the ring at the time, I was thinking, you know, if I lose 2 fights in a row, I don't need this shit. So, but you know, there's also injuries that's happened where, like, you know, your hands hurt, and I tore my bicep one time and all that. But, like, you know, you get by stuff. And probably the most difficult part of my career was coming back from the car accident, because, like, you know, I was pretty banged up. I had broken 5 ribs on this side. I had punctured my left lung. My shoulder blade on this side had shattered in 4 pieces. So I needed a lot of work. Like, even to this day, I don't lift this hand like higher than that. You know, like,
oh, really?
I was limited on my left side, so I would start training on my comeback, and like, you know, some days when the pain and stuff was kind of, you know, grueling. But like, I had a great therapist, you know, a friend of mine named Dev. And I'd go into Dev's table and I'd lay down on his table in pain, and I'd get off, you know, take his hand and do all this. Then this active release stuff and, you know, muscle activation and all this stuff was new back then. He was on the cutting edge of stuff, man. So I'd go on this table, and Dev, they'll tell him what's up, and he'd tell him, lift your leg or lift this arm. And boom, he does some work with his hands. No machines, none of this like ultrasound. Cause I tried all that, and that ultrasound stuff, you'll feel better when you're there, but you get off the table, and by the time you get home, you're still feeling pain. I'll be on table, this guy I'm with his hands, and I'm good. So that really helped to get me through, you know, like the injuries and the rehab and all that. So that's talking about support. That's another thing. You that's another key element. You know, you have to have the right people around you.
Right power team.
Yeah. And you know, you're gonna try this guy, try that, trial and error. And I'm a firm believer in, if it works for me, then, like, you know, I'm good with it. So I'm not gonna go here because someone say, hey, this guy's the best athletic therapist or the best physiotherapist or the best. No, man, I have my guy. What he does for me works for me, and I'm good with it. And he was able to get me through the tough times when the injuries started to flare up and the aches and the pains were starting to whoop my butt a little bit. Like, I'd go see him, and I would come out feeling good.
At one moment in your career, did you dream of fighting Mike Tyson, maybe? Muhammad Ali?
No, I would never fight those guys, because those guys, I might be heavyweight now, but I was a middleweight champion. They were much bigger than me. You know, they were heavyweight champions. I fought at 160 pounds when I was champion of the world, and 168 on my.
Did you ever meet them?
Yeah, I've met both Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, and you know, Muhammad Ali, first time I met him was at
talking about him is right here.
the Pan American Games in 19 '87. I was representing Canada at the Pan Am Games in Indianapolis, and he walked into the arena, and I made it to the finals. And he came to the finals. He came the night before, and he came to the finals. And when he came to the finals, he came and he wished all the guys in the finals luck. So I got an opportunity to take. Actually, I have a picture with him and Lennox Lewis.
Wow.
Like I'm in the middle of, so Lennox and I were representing Canada at that tournament, and then Ali came and wished, and I have a picture with both those guys, and Lennox went on to be one of the greatest heavyweight champions in the history of the sport, and Ali is the best of the best. But I've looked at this guy, and you can learn a lot from a guy like Ali and the trials and tribulations and trouble, and you're going against the grain and standing up for what he believed in and not going with what people said he should. And they said, no, like, I'm not going to war because, like, I don't have any problems with those people in Vietnam. And he went to prison for it. He lost his career for it. And then after, he had the opportunity to come back and fight, and he made the best of it, man. Like, it's a great story, and it's just a great example that you stand up for what you believe in, and you don't gotta do what people think you should do if you're not in agreement with it. So no, he's one of my idols, Ali. But there's him, Tyson. Not that he was a great fighter. He was one of the best guys there. But I think the guy that I looked up to as a fighter and I idolized the most and that I tried to emulate and copy was marvelous Marvin Hagler, because he was middleweight. He was left-handed like me, and I used to look at this guy and see what he did well and try to. And he had great work ethic too. He was a guy that worked. So being a southpaw, a left-handed fighter, I looked at Marvin Hagler for his grit and determination and work. And another guy was Pernell Whitaker, because he was real slick. He had good defense, and he would move, and he'd be right in front of you. You throw 3 shots at him, and you can't touch him. So, I tried to emulate some defense from Pernell and the work ethic and determination and grit of a Hagler. And those were the 2 guys that I think I would say I try to be a little bit of both if and when I had the opportunity in the ring.
Yeah, so everybody watching this video right now that wants to get involved in boxing, or that's maybe in their almost pro career, they're amateurs right now, whatever the case is, what advice can you give them?
Honestly, I tell them kids to stay in school. I'm telling you the truth, because it's a tough game and it's a worse business. And your education is something that's irreplaceable. It's something that nobody's going to take away from you. And I'm saying that because I've done it. I fought for Canada, and I went to school. I turned professional when I was at Van Eyck College. I went to Concordia University, graduated. I got to be the number 3 ranked fighter in the world. And secure your future somewhere other than the boxing ring, because it's a tough business. You can be taken advantage of very quickly if you're not with the right people and people that have your best interests at heart. But if you have talent and you want to be around the fight business and you want to turn pro, then my best advice is to go where you're comfortable. Stay with someone that you trust, someone that you're with, someone that has your back and is going to do their very best for you. Because if you're not with those people in this business, the sharks are just out there in the water waiting to take you.
Actually, talking about that, I have a question for you. Why should somebody come and work out at your gym as opposed to all the other gyms?
Yeah, that's a good question. But a simple answer is that we're honest people, my brother and I. At the gym, you guys drop in any time. You see, it's like a family atmosphere there. And from the boxing standpoint, I will put it out there and go on record and say that there's no other trainers, gym owners, fighters in this province that has accomplished what my brother and I have accomplished in this business. As an amateur, representing your country, turning professional, opening the gym, winning the world title, having a successful gym. I don't see anybody in this business with that pedigree that has that track record behind them. And for that reason, I think if someone's looking to come, or not even to come to us to train, but if you want the advice, you come and ask a couple of questions, and we're gonna be straight with you. We'll let you know.
And one more question to add that: boxing or MMA?
Well, I'm a boxing
Completely
guy.
different, of course.
I'm a boxing guy, and I mean, like, my brother trained George St. Pierre at the height of his career for like about 6 years, and and when George was fighting, I was a huge MMA fan, and I'm still an MMA fan. But like, I would tune in to watch George. I think since George left, pay-per-view sales and all that went down. But like, I think MMA needs a George St. Pierre or a guy like him. He's humble. He's not a Conor McGregor.
And we want him on the show, on the Nick and Jimmy show.
He's not a guy that runs his mouth off. He just goes in there and gets the job done. And I'm a huge fan of athletes like that. You
Very humble.
Let your talking, do it in the cage, do it in the ring, do it on the field, right? Don't do it on social media and in the media. And like this guy the other day, insulting Khabib's father and his religion and all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm not a fan of that. So I was happy that Khabib whooped his ass.
That's all just show. It's all show. It's all
Yeah.
So McGregor, you think, is all talk, huh?
Yeah, he is. And you know what? Like, I knew that from seeing him when he fought Diaz that he talks a lot. And I questioned his heart because he's good standing up, right? But I think on the floor, as soon as you get him in a position where you can submit him, he's going to tap. And he did that with Diaz. He did that the other day with Khabib. And like, in that world, when a guy is in a chokehold or whatever, the real guys, they'll choke him out. They'll fall asleep. But, tap because he doesn't want to get hurt or doesn't want to feel the pain.
Rumor has it there's going to be a fight, Mayweather versus Khabib. I don't know if that's true.
Mayweather made McGregor the most money that any UFC fighter ever made in the boxing ring, right? And Mayweather could stay out of boxing, not train for a couple of weeks, and Khabib wouldn't have a chance in the boxing ring with him. Just like Mayweather wouldn't have a chance in a cage with any of those guys. So like, I just think it's two different sports. And a guy like Mayweather is so slick and knows his way around boxing will ring so well that like there's no MMA fighter that's gonna challenge him, or even if you put an MMA fighter that's at the top in with an average boxer, I think the average boxer will beat them in a boxing match. But same as if you put a great fighter in with an average MMA fighter in the cage, he's not gonna stand a chance. So I think the sports are just the two sports are just, they're combat, yes, but they're just too different to compare. I don't think it's a fair comparison.
If somebody wants to follow you and your gym on social media, how can they follow you?
It's Facebook, Grant Brothers Boxing. I think it's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Grant Brothers Boxing, at Grant Brothers Boxing.
Do they get a discount if they say the Nick and Jimmy show?
They could say Nick and Jim, whoever send them over there, like the price is the price.
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Otis, once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on the Nick and Jimmy show.
Right.
Really appreciate it. Can't wait to train with you one day, right?
All right,
I need it, that's for sure.
Well, actually, when you guys come to do the filming, maybe I'll train you guys. That could be
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
that'd be the right
100%.
way.
Absolutely. In January-ish, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you like this content and want more content, don't be shy to follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, The Nick and Jimmy Show. And don't forget to follow the Grant Brothers Boxing. Thank you.